Welcome to Entertain Me. I'm Heather Brooker. This is a show where we talk about all things entertainment from SoCal to the silver screen. As you can probably tell, fall is just around the corner. Now, we're not quite done with summer yet. It's still hot outside, and some people are still going to the beach. There's still lots of beach weather yet, but before we know it, it's going to be fall. That means Halloween. And nobody does Halloween better in Southern California than Universal Studios Hollywood. And I am so thrilled this week because I had the opportunity to sit down with the creator and executive director of Halloween Horror Nights, John Murdy, and we talked about what fans can expect to see this year. He even gives hints about Easter eggs, some of the new mazes, and some surprises that you aren't going to want to miss at this year's event. It all kicks off September 4th, and joining me now to give us a little bit of a hint of what we can expect is John Murdy. Hey, John, thanks for joining me. I know you're really busy these days.
Oh, my pleasure.
We're just a few days away from the kickoff of Halloween Horror Nights. So how are you feeling right now? What's kind of going through your head?
Well, the thing I always say about Horror Nights is that you can't ever stop and think about how much is involved in creating it because you'd go insane. It's like producing 8 movies at the same time from a production standpoint. What I've always said to my team over the years is when you start this project, it's like a massive boulder, and way in the distance, there's a hill that you have to push this massive boulder up to. And if you thought about it, you would think it's impossible. So the only way to do it is to just push it 1 inch every day, and to realize that it's not just your hands pushing in the boulder, but you have all of these other hands, which is all of the talented men and women who work on Halloween Horror Nights. So every day, like with my longtime production designer, art director, Chris Williams, like if we're walking out at the end of the night, I just go, did we win today? And usually you're like, yeah, we won today, meaning we got something accomplished. So you don't ever try to think about the vastness of it. You just try to, wherever you are at any given time, you just try to get that done and then move on to the next thing.
The one thing fans want to know every year is what's new and where should we go first?
I think this year was specifically curated with the fan in mind because for years they've been telling us they want 5 nights at Freddy's. So I imagine a large proportion of our fans are really going to want to see that attraction, which is located on the lower lot of the theme park in stage 15. So they might want to head there first. There's another, section of our fans who've been asking for years for Terrifier, Damien Leone's film series. And that's in what we call H lot, which is kind of on the upper lot of the theme park. So they might want to go there first. But today, horror fans are so diverse, we try to cater to all of that. So for gamers, people that are into video games, there's Fallout. And that's located on the upper lot of our theme park, kind of right adjacent to the Universal Plaza in our former Walking Dead attraction building. So that might be top of their agenda. So it's kind of hard to say. And of course, we're bringing new things into Halloween Horror Nights like WWE with the horrors of the Wyatt Sicks. So there's, all these WWE fans that for the first time are going to get to see that world translated into a living horror movie. So that might be top of their agenda. So it's kind of hard to predict where the fans will head first.
Fans love hearing about the creative process. So what's one surprising or maybe unusual inspiration that shaped a house or scare zone this year?
For me, the Wyatt Sicks is one because, my dad used to take me to watch wrestling in the Olympic Auditorium back in the early 70s when I was a little kid. But I hadn't stayed in touch with it down through the years and seen, what it became with the WWE. So we work in collaboration with our sister park in Orlando, Florida. And a lot of the team members over there are huge WWE fans. And they brought this opportunity to us. Sometimes we bring it to them. It works both ways. But in this case, they brought it to us. So that, for myself, that meant I needed to do an awful lot of research before we ever, sat in a room with the creatives from WWE. So it's similar to if I'm researching our Latin American content for Monstros. We always go real deep to try to understand the brand from the inside out. And that meant for Wyatt Sicks, pretty much watching the entire trajectory of Bray Wyatt. who was a wrestler who created the Wyatt family initially and then passed away during when COVID was going on. And his brother, Bo Dallas, has carried on the torch with the Wyatt Sicks. But in researching all of that, all of those matches and all of the promos and all of the intricate storyline that they create for these characters, what I came away with is, wow, this guy was a creative genius. And I think if he was alive today, he probably would have naturally evolved into making horror movies because it was a huge interest of his. So for myself and our team, I saw our job as really creating a tribute to his work and his legacy and how it carries on today with his brother, with the Wyatt Sicks. But to also come at it from the perspective of maybe not having been a fan all these years, so that what we were creating was inclusive of everybody, so whether you're a huge uber fan of WWE or whether you're just a casual fan, the experience would speak to everybody. So I just looked at it like if I was Bray Wyatt and I was making a horror movie based on all of these things he created over the years and that his brother is carrying on, what would that look like? So that was the approach.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
One of the things Horror Nights is known for is pushing the envelope with special effects. Can you tease any new technology or design tricks that guests will experience this year?
Yeah, well, let's start with Five Nights at Freddy's, because I think if you would have asked us even like maybe 5-6 years ago, as our fans were asking us at the time, to do a house based on that franchise, I probably would have said it's impossible. And the reason is, a few years back, we were lucky enough to get the original characters from the film, and they were in a behind the scenes or behind the screams exhibit for Blumhouse that we did in our DreamWorks facility. And I remember walking in when we were loading in those costumes and looking at them and going, that's 8 foot tall. There's no way that can be done by a live actor wearing a costume. It's different when you're making a movie. You only necessarily have to be in the costume for maybe 2 minutes at a time. Director calls cut, head comes off, back to the trailer. But in our world, our performers are probably doing that for like 45 minutes at a time. So we knew to do this, there was really only one way, and that was to engage Jim Henson's Creature Shop. They're the people that built the characters for the film. They have an expertise in puppetry, obviously. So it was really combining their skill set with our skill set. So they educated us on how they do things. We had to educate them on a live experience like Halloween Horror Nights. And then we brought our mechanical engineering team to the table, and we've been working with them probably back to our Chucky house a few years ago when we had 17 animatronic Chuckies. That was our real first dipping the toe in the water of trying to do animatronics for Halloween Horror Nights. So they built us what I believe is the most complicated animatronic we've ever featured at Horror Nights for Freddy Fazbear. Has all kinds of functions and articulations, from the eyebrows to the ears to you name it. So that was a big leap forward, because now we're doing animatronics that are, what you would see in a ride at Universal Studios Hollywood that takes years to build. So that's a big leap. We've also applied that to Fallout. So we're building an animatronic T-60 in the power armor. And again, that's like over 7 feet tall. So these are big, complicated special effects that we're doing live in front of people. So it's pretty wild. We love to work with other individuals, talented individuals or companies that we can creatively collaborate with to bring what we're trying to create to life. And we had this partnership with Henson. They were part of FanFest earlier this year, working on Dungeons and Dragons. So that was maybe like the test case. That was one character. Now we have a whole bunch that we got to bring to life. So it's great to get to work. And that's something we get to uniquely do here in Hollywood. We're smack dab in the center of the movie and television industry. So we're able to use all these movie and TV resources to help us with our event.
All right, we have to talk about Easter eggs. Are there any Easter eggs in the park this year?
Yeah, okay. Let's take a couple of examples. So Jason Universe. That's obviously based on Jason and the Friday the 13th film franchise. I I wanted to approach that creatively, like how I approached Texas Chainsaw Massacre last year, which was to create an original story that where we tie in all these iconic elements from the franchise, and that's what we did with Texas last year. This year with Jason, I decided that the setting would be present day, and that there would be a group of what I've now learned are called urban explorers. So these are folks who make YouTube videos, but they go out on like these destinations to, okay, we're going to go to an abandoned, slaughterhouse, or we're going to go to an abandoned mental hospital, and they'll, break in and document all these things. And I was trying to come up with an angle for for Jason Universe. So I was watching all of these things and looking at videos of that and thinking, God, this would be the people Jason would kill today, if it's all these years later. And there's a thing called dark tourism that exists in our society where people take vacations to go to places associated with tragedy and horror, whether that's Chernobyl in Europe or sleeping in Lizzie Borden's house here in America. So there's those two kind of things, dark tourism, urban exploration, and we put them together in our storyline. So there's a group called Death Tours that is doing a destination 2025 to Camp Crystal Lake to see if they can document where all these horrible tragedies and murders took place. In a horror movie, that's a terrible idea because you're going to awaken Jason and the killings are going to start. But what's fun about that is we wanted to reference all these iconic kills that fans have been making videos about for years in that franchise, but in a new way. So it's happening to these death tourists. So as you're going through, particularly the wood scenes of Friday the 13th, you'll notice there's a lot of references to very famous kills in the Jason universe. So keep your eyes open for that. In the world of Wyatt Sicks, we're using specific iconic elements with Bray Wyatt to kind of be the thread that takes you through the house. So he was known for his rocking chair and his lantern. So when he would go out in the Wyatt family days and watch one of the guys in his faction wrestle, he would park himself in a rocking chair, and his compound was in the Louisiana Bayou, and he'd always come out for his matches holding a lantern, and his fans adopted that, and they called themselves the Fireflies. So there's fireflies. There are lanterns all the way through the house. It's like a thread. You have to kind of keep finding Bray's lantern as you go along. You'll see the rocking chair. You'll also see references to people who the Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt family, the Wyatt Sicks fought. So all of the victims or dead bodies in this house are wearing T-shirts, officially licensed WWE T-shirts for people the Wyatt family or Bray Wyatt or the Wyatt Sicks thought of as enemies. So that's a fun Easter egg to look for. So those are just a couple.
I know this is your 20th year creating Halloween Horror Nights here at Universal Studios Hollywood. So I have to ask you, does it get old? What are you looking forward to the fans enjoying, and what do you want them to get out of it this year?
Yeah, I think what we're doubling down on this year is kind of like, it sounds like something we do every year, which we do, which is focus on the scariness. But what we're really, after doing this for 20 years, this is my 20th year of doing this with the team that's brought Horror Nights back to Hollywood, we have very loyal fans that come every single year. But in doing that, they've kind of learned all our tricks. They've learned the geography of the park, where they should be concerned about being scared and where they shouldn't be concerned about being scared. And we wanted to use that against them this year. We wanted to kind of go, okay, you think you know what Halloween Horror Nights is. Now we're going to throw in a twist. So in the case of Terrifier, which is, of course, Art the Clown, I am deploying Art the Clowns in places you would not expect to see Art the Clowns throughout the theme park. So it's kind of like our demented version of Where's Waldo, So you could be having a meal and look up and he's sitting right across from you just staring at you. You could go into a store to buy some Terrifier merch and he might follow you in. So there's we've carefully choreographed. We put all these performers through our version of mime school, and we're going to experiment. We're going to do things we've never done before. And it's all in an effort to just be disruptive. It's like you think our event. Well, maybe you don't. So that I'm really excited to see how that's going to play in real time with our guests.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be another really fun event this year. And John Murdy, thank you as always for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Halloween Horror Nights kicks off on September 4th. There are some tickets available, and you can find out more details on our website, kfiam640.com, under the Entertain Me tab, or you can visit universalstudioshollywood.com for more information there. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Feel free to subscribe and share it with friends. It would mean a lot to me if you did. And we'll see you next time here. We've got another episode coming up this week. It's going to be all about the weekend box office entertainment report with Gary and Shannon. You can listen to Entertain Me anywhere, anytime on the iHeartRadio app.